Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Corissa. Corissa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So, Corissa, let us know what you do and where you live.
Yeah, so I am a founder of the Executives Cup. It is a high net worth networking golf tournament here in Utah. We've been around for a couple of years. We're really getting our feet under us and starting to take off. But yeah, we're here in Utah, sunny mountains. We love it.
Awesome. So let me know a little bit about your core responsibilities in your business, in your job, because I know everybody may be wearing a lot of hats, and this is cool, in fact.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what are your core responsibilities?
So my core responsibilities are more on the relationship management side, the sponsorship side, as well as building out some strong relationships with our high net worth individuals that are players. One fun thing that's happened is a lot of our players from last year came back as sponsors this year. And a lot of that was attributed to just the relationship building, the connections that we're making. And so for me, as the founder, as the CEO, I have an incredible team who are able to fulfill so much of our responsibilities when it comes to putting together the tournament, as well as, continuous outreach. But my core is really around relationships, making sure that I'm maintaining relationships with our players, our sponsors, we're fulfilling our agreements, and we're making this an incredible opportunity for everybody who's involved.
Awesome. So as a founder, this is one of the most difficult job and joyful job as well, by the way. But have you ever faced any challenge in this case? Because again, relationship management and driving the sales, both are the difficult things because you don't know who is in front of you. Who are you facing? So have you ever faced any challenge that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like one of the biggest challenges that we found with the Executives Cup specifically was just being a new company in this space. So here in Utah, we have a lot of golf tournaments. We have a really entrepreneurial community, lots of startups, lots of really incredible businesses, and a lot of venture capital firms. And so we tend to have a lot of incubators. But because of that, we have a lot of golf tournaments. Most people here in Utah, if you're an executive, you at least get on the course a couple times a year. So we all love it. That being said, when we started the Executives Cup, I had already been doing golf tournaments for years. My background is actually in venture capital. I spent quite a few years there managing our portfolio, putting on golf tournaments and events and things like that. And so when I started the Executives Cup, I was reaching out to all the people I already knew. I know you love golf tournaments. I love you. I know that you love sponsoring them. I know that you love playing in them. And the biggest thing that I ran into was people were like, yeah, we love you. We know that you're really good at this, but your brand is really new. And we're not sure if we want to invest until X, Y, and Z, or until this other company does. And so a lot of it was like this politicking of like, hey, I need you to come and sponsor me. So then this company comes and sponsors me, and like all of this like roundabout ways. And so it was so interesting because even though these people had real connections with me, we had relationships, they knew I was good at planning golf tournaments, they knew I had the connections, they still didn't want to make the jump unless somebody that they perceived as more established did first. And so that was one thing that we really had to find a hurdle and like overcome, was getting the bigger brands to buy in before all the little brands would. And you would think that would be the opposite, but no, we had to just go big. We had to go to the biggest names in the state and say, come sponsor us. And then we finally got all the little guys to come as well.
Well, that's great. So in this whole process, I believe you must have some online presence. You must have some presence on the social media as well. So, and I believe digital marketing and social media presence will be a plus in this case, especially when you are reaching people. And how it is helping you. And are you just relying on digital marketing, or you are relying on some offline stuff as well?
Yeah, so we do a little bit of both. So we have some online digital marketing. We do a lot on our social media. We're really trying to increase our social media presence, our brand awareness there. But we do a lot of offline marketing as well. So we have direct mailers that go out to all of the high net worth individuals here locally or in the cities that we're targeting. And that is personally inviting them to come to our golf tournaments. And we found that that really works well for these high net worth individuals, because if you think about it, they're getting hit up in their LinkedIn DMs, and they're going to see ads all the time. Their emails are full of junk that they don't want to look at. But if they get a physical invitation like this, they're getting a physical invitation, they're more likely to open it. They're more likely to say, you know what is this? And then the next time they see our ad, the next time they see my name pop up on LinkedIn, they remember, oh, you know what? I got mail from her. And actually, I'm going to respond to her. And so we found that doing both online and offline really helps our conversion rates. And it really helps people understand that, no, we're legit. We know who we are. We know that we want you there, and we want you there for a reason. We're not sending a million mailers to everybody in the state. We're only sending them to the select few high net worth individuals, business leaders here that we want to connect with.
Well, that's great. And I liked your idea, like sending a physical invitation. This is great. Like, this is very old, but at this point, this is amazing.
It's one of those things where nobody sends mail anymore. And so to get a physical invitation, you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? Why am I getting it? Who are these people? And all of a sudden it makes us stand out, even though it's it's snail mail. Like, nobody used to do that.
Exactly. I'm just thinking about myself. If I will get a letter, in this case, what I will be going to do? I will be going to explore. What is this? Who sent this?
Exactly. Like, why did you send this? Like, I'm at least going to think about it more than I would a DM or, an ad online. I'm going to put some serious effort and thought into it for sure.
That's serious. That's very serious. Awesome. Well, that's a secret sauce that you are exposing.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. If you don't send mail, send more mail.
Awesome. So let me know a little bit about your customer acquisition process. What's the customer acquisition process like? How you get the customers and how you onboard them? Because I'm sure you must have some eligibility criteria. It doesn't matter if you are new in the market or you are the player of this market. Still, everybody have their own doubts. So how you find, okay, this one is eligible for my services?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. There is a couple ways that we do this. So in one way, when we onboard partners, our sponsors, we are actually connecting with them and we say, hey, you know what? Who would you like to meet? What industries would you like to meet? Are there any ideal clients or companies that you would like to be at our tournament? They'll give us a list of names, and we'll actually go out there and specifically invite those individuals to really maximize connections. And then on the flip side, because I have so many ties to the venture capital world, I talk to a lot of the other firms here, the smaller private equity, like family offices, or even the bigger late stage funds. And I say, you know what, who are your up and coming? Who are the ones to keep an eye on? Who should we be meeting? And we have them help us fill out the tournament with the people that people want to meet, if that makes sense. We want to create a really unique culture. And for people who are just finding us online, they have to go on our website, fill out a form, apply, say who you are, what does your company do, how much are you guys making? And then our team will actually go and research them and vet them and then send them an invitation if they are approved. But for those that we're just sending invites to, like these physical ones, we're already doing all of that research. We're working with other industry leaders here in Utah to say who should be here, who do we need to meet, and who do we need to put in the same room together, because we feel like they could blow up if they're together.
Completely makes sense. All right. So in terms of your ideal client, like you were talking about the ideal client. So how you define the ideal client? Like, what's the process of defining the ideal client?
Yeah. So for us, I would say, let me step back. My biggest thing that I love to do is I love to solve problems. I love to connect people, and I love to throw fun events. And so that's where the Executives Cup was really born. And with my background in venture capital, I was constantly being asked like, hey, do you know this person? Hey, do you know this person? Who can you connect me here? So I was constantly being a connector. And with the Executives Cup, we want that same thing. So our ideal client is a business owner, a high net worth individual who has already made it, but they might not need to network, but they also know the power of being in the right room with the right people. And they know that surrounding yourself with other business leaders who have already made it, who you can brainstorm with, you can find your next acquisition, your next deal, your next partnership, even just your next friendship, they understand the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. And so our client, our target client is that person. They've already made it. They have an incredible story as a founder or an executive or even an investor. And now they're wanting to surround themselves with others who are peers like them rather than a sales bro selling to a sales bro and then nothing gets done because they have to climb the ladder. You are talking to two decision makers. And so that's our biggest thing. And I will say we are pretty agnostic on industry. We're agnostic on the money that you have in the bank and what your company is doing, because we have some founders that have made it and now have restarted with a startup. And so on paper, their startup doesn't look like it should be at the tournament, but the person behind the startup should be at the tournament. And so we care a little bit less about the company financials and more about the individual.
Makes sense. So every business do have a biggest why behind the scene. By the way, I got it. Like, what was your biggest inspiration? But still, I want to know what was your biggest inspiration to start this business, and what was the biggest why behind it?
Yeah, so my inspiration behind it, I touched on it a little bit, but because I worked in venture capital, I planned a lot of golf tournaments and I managed our portfolio. So I was the point person between all of our CEOs and our executive team and our internal service teams. I will always say I'm a self-proclaimed personality hire. I love people more than anything. And so I love connecting with people. And I just found that I loved my job the most when I was putting two people in the room together that could find a solution for each other. I didn't even have to be a part of the solution. I just said, you know what? Tom, I think you need to meet Harry because Harry has this thing that Tom needs that's going to take his business to the next level. And I just love that. I loved making those connections. And so for me with the Executives Cup, I just wanted to make that on a bigger level, like on a bigger scale. I wanted to take what I was doing for my portfolio companies and take it and do that for all of the my portfolio companies in Utah, all of the companies in Utah, all of the companies throughout the United States. We're planning on expanding out of Utah next year. And so I'm really excited to continue this and into other states. And so I would say that my why is to help connect people with other potential solutions. And I love that. Like I'm just such a people person through and through. And I get the greatest joy watching people achieve their dreams, and helping being a tiny piece of that, just making a connection brings all the joy to the world for me.
I will say your business is adopting. Your business is not adapting, but yeah, your business is following the most modern techniques, along with some of the good or great, you can say old things as well. But you're following very modern ways. That's great. That's great. In fact, in today's age, like everybody is looking for a problem solver. If you can just say, "Yep, I do this." I do that, but probably you will not be able to sell anything, because today everything is revolving around the problem solving. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome.
Absolutely. I feel like one thing that I did within my career to get me where I was I was never willing to say no. I always was like, you know what? I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. And so I just cultivated this culture within myself and then with my teams of like, we are problem solvers. We don't need to have the answers. We are okay not knowing, but we are also okay going and figuring it out and finding the person that has the answer.
All right. Now there is the most difficult question. I'm not sure if it is difficult for you, but still, yeah. So, what are your differentiators? I'm sure, like everybody have competition in the market, but what are your differentiators from the market?
Yeah, so I would say our differentiators when it comes to a golf tournament here in Utah, the biggest things that we do is we curate all of our foursomes. So if Tom signs up, we're going to connect him with 3 other business leaders that we feel would make sense for his company. It's not just Tom hanging out with his coworkers for 4 hours. So that's our biggest one, is we curate all of our foursomes. The other thing is our intentional invitations, because most tournaments are just open enrollment. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know if it's going to be beneficial to your company or if it's not. The only way to really know if it's going to be beneficial or not is if you're a part of the team that's planning it. And so what we do in a way to combat that is obviously we have our specific invitations that are going out to our players. And then we work with our sponsors to say, who do you want to be there? So we invite more people that really benefit the greater connections across the board. So those 2 things are probably the biggest things, the curated teams And then the specific, very curated invitations really set us apart. Other than that, like you're going to find aspects of what we do in every, tournament. There's different ways that we communicate. There's different ways that we set up our tournaments, but there's so many incredible golf tournaments here in Utah that you're going to find a fun tournament anywhere you look. Those two things really set us up apart outside of the standard tournament here.
Awesome. That's great. So along with all these things, I think all these things shows a lot of motivation and encouragement. So for our podcast, this is one of the major factor that we are encouraging other entrepreneurs as well. So with this encouragement and motivation, can you tell me what is your measurement of success? Like how you measure your success? Obviously, there is one easiest way, which is we can say the numbers, maybe the revenue or the profit, but every business have some other things as well. So what are your other things in terms of measuring the success?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, like you said, every company has the numbers that they can look at and see if they're successful. But the biggest thing for us to know if we're successful, one thing that we do after each tournament, we send out a survey and we say, hey, did you make connections? Who did you meet? How did you feel? What can we do better? And so based on those surveys, we really know if we are killing it or not, if we're making good curated teams or not, because people will let you know. We've had some people who are like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. I was paired with 3 incredible people. We have 2 business deals out of it. It's only been 2 weeks. Like they loved it. And then I had another guy who was like, you know what? My first foursome was awesome. My second foursome that I went to a different tournament wasn't as good, awesome because they didn't need my services. And so that was really informative for us. And that's great information. So we're like, okay, we really need to make sure we're curating the right teams around each of these players because we want everybody to walk away with such an incredible experience, at least a couple connections. And we took some feedback from surveys and we started doing networking socials outside of golf tournaments because players even asked, they said, oh, I loved it. I just wish I had more time with these people. And so we said, great, let's give them more time. Let's make something new. Let's do that. And so I would say that's where we really know if we're successful or not. But depending on those surveys, people will tell us if they met the right people, if they have business deals out of it. And for us, that's the end goal, is to help everybody succeed in their companies.
Yeah, if you have solved the problem or not. Obviously,
Yeah.
makes sense. Awesome. So at the end, what would be your biggest piece of advice for our audience? Our audience is, again, the entrepreneurs and ones who are starting their business and want to be their own boss.
Okay, that's a great question. I feel like I've touched on it a little bit, but for me, I would say the biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid to not know. It's okay to not know. There is so much information out there. ChatGPT is your friend. If you need to know information, it's at your fingertips. And it's okay to say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to go figure this out. And I can lean on people. And there's so many things that you can be doing with AI that can help validate your company before going to market to really make sure that you're not wasting your time, but also make sure that you're putting your time and energy into the things that actually matter and are going to make the biggest difference. And so it's okay to not know. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to go figure it out. And it's okay to, I would say everybody looks at somebody perceived farther in their career as them and they're like, oh, they've figured it out. In reality, none of us have figured it out. We're figuring it out as we go. And we are learning. We're all learning and growing and we're developing, and it's okay. So just be okay not knowing everything and you're going to get so much farther. Just be willing to learn, be willing to look into it, and be willing to figure it out.
Awesome. That completely makes sense. All right. With this very good advice, in fact, beautiful advice, I think we will be going to wrap up. So huge thanks for joining us today and sharing your insights. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show. But before you leave, can you please let our viewers know how they can reach you if they want to?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find out a little bit more about the Executives Cup at executivescup.com. That's executives with an S. And then you can reach me specifically at info@executivescup.com. It'll either be myself or my assistant, and she can connect you right to me. I'd love to connect with you guys and hopefully see more of you guys out at our golf tournaments.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep the conversation going on. All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.